Butcher.
We talked about this, Butcher.
You're
just
on
the show.
here.
You were just excited about it.
Everyone loves you being here. I don't know why he plays hard to get sometimes.
You know, it makes us want him more.
Mm-hmm. It makes the viewers want him more.
It does. They love him.
Yes, they do. Well, you guys also love us too.
And we're back.
Hello.
We're back with the birthday girl. Somebody is in their flirty 40s.
40s.
Well, technically,
You mean
you've broken
25.
the barrier. How do you feel?
Old.
No, you don't.
I don't feel old physically, but mentally, it's kind of like,
Has it broken you down?
It makes me mad and maybe, oh my gosh. Jess.
What? Keep talking.
Oh
I have a lot of
my
candles to light, so you can
goodness.
just keep talking.
That's so sweet. Jessica has brought me a cake for you guys, the 20 people listening on Spotify.
There's more than that.
Okay, 35. Thank you. Maybe we could get a good 40 views, a special 40 views for my 40th. Man, yeah, I was gonna say it's weird because I realized how young I was when I felt old when I turned 30. Or when I turned 27, which is like the year all the like really influential famous people die. Like the best musicians died at 27. And then I was 28 and I'm like, well, haven't done anything and I haven't died. So fucked up on two ends.
They just wanted to give you more opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes.
Should I make a wish?
Yes. Yay!
Okay, we're gonna start the fire alarm.
Well, that's why I didn't put all the candles on the cake.
If it was 40, we would have burned the house down. Oh my God, I feel like I can't even joke about that right now with the wildfires.
With everything that's going on. Man, my cousin lost his house.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He lives out in Azusa. The whole thing burned down.
How was the evacuation process and everything?
You know what? They got out. Everybody is safe. They got all their cats. They got all the family. They just, they get to start from scratch now.
Dude, that's the most heartbreaking thing is seeing like the lost dogs wandering.
Oh my God.
Next to the firefighters. And like there was one video of a firefighter like hosing off a house, but also like petting a dog and reassuring it at the same time. I was just like, fuck, I can't imagine. And it's scary because, I mean, we're a few hours away from LA, but it's only about a few miles from the Intuit Dome. I think the Pasadena one is like 10 miles away.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the fight card that's happening 3/11. But yeah, it's just, it almost seems, I don't know, grotesque to think about the fight card happening in that area when so many people are losing their houses. A handful of people lost their lives. Like, it's just a really wild predicament.
It's really frustrating to think that this happens like this, of this magnitude, almost every year.
Yeah.
And still nothing's being done about it. It's quite frustrating. And all these, conspiracy theorists are coming on and saying, the water wasn't turned off on some of the hydrants. There was no water in the reservoir. There's just a lot of stuff that's coming up, and just realizing that we weren't prepared. We should have been prepared. Yeah. Because this happens repeatedly.
Yeah, no, it's a really bad one. And it's also kind of worrying, though, too, because there's a lot of misinformation out right now. And now that Meta and all these other people are getting rid of their fact checkers, like, this kind of thing is going to go rampant. Yeah. Like, there was one thing saying that there were fire trucks were sent from somewhere, and before they were allowed to hose off the fires, they had to go through emissions checks.
No.
And it's like, no, that didn't happen. But it became like this rumor that was really getting spread a lot because of something that's believable, even though it's ridiculously absurd. But with what's going on, it's like you'll believe anything. Yeah. So it kind of sucks that all this is happening.
I'm also seeing a lot of videos from the last time this happened. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of there's like a lot of, horse videos, and I have horses, so I always, perk up when those things come on. And I'm seeing videos that are years old that are circulating again and claiming to be from, the most recent,
Damn.
It's kind of wild.
It's scary that journalism has turned into just attention grabbing, and it's always been like that. But now even more so, you don't have to fact check, you don't have to show your sources, you don't have to ask people for permission to repost their videos. Like the most rewarding form of journalism is not journalism right now. So it's
sensationalism.
Yes, yeah. So we're going through it, and I mean, on the ground floor, it doesn't look scary. It doesn't look bad from San Diego, but Natalie, she travels down here to train, and she couldn't even run where she lived because of the air quality. Yeah. So I'm like, how are you going to bring in a bunch of athletes to perform to the best of their ability when this is going on? Yeah,
it's kind of wild. On one hand, I feel like it would be a nice kind of distraction from what's going on, something entertaining, something to just take our minds off of the reality of everything. And I mean, that's what entertainment is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to give us a release from reality, but it is hard when, that's kind of at the epicenter of what's going on.
Yeah, it's hard to be away from reality when you can see the fires from the parking lot. It's kind of what seems to be happening. But hopefully they'll have it contained by then, and then it won't be an issue. But one person who was not willing to be contained was Khabib Nurgamedov on his way to UFC 311 for his boy.
Man, That was quite the video that you showed me just right now,
dude.
So for you guys that haven't heard yet, or will hear about it, we're gonna break it for you first. Khabib was basically escorted off of a plane.
Yeah, which is a bad look already.
It's not great.
But he didn't do anything wrong, guys, except for he didn't want to move seats. And I'm not sure if it was the fact, like, if he didn't understand why he had to change seats. But whenever you get on a flight, and you're in the exit row, has the best leg room, so I don't blame him for wanting to be there. But you're in the exit row, and they ask you, hey, if there's an emergency, will you be able to perform this, and that? And Khabib, I guess, didn't understand or wasn't like computing, and the pilot came out and was saying, hey, if you don't switch seats, then you're gonna have to get off the plane. And yeah, Khabib's reaction was very not woman friendly. He could have just, like you were saying, he could have just been describing who she was, like, oh, this woman, blah, blah, blah. But it seemed like he was a little upset about being told to do.
It comes off a little bit abrasive. And it just, but we're only seeing this very small snippet of a video. We don't know necessarily what happened before or after. We just are picking up kind of the tail end of it, to where it's escalated to the point where maybe there was a breakdown in communication. Maybe he refused. Who knows? I doubt this is the first time that he has been in an exit row. So I don't know where the breakdown in communication was. And he speaks perfect English. I don't understand what it was, but they were asking him to switch his seats if he does not want to or cannot agree to helping with the exit row in case of an evacuation. And it just looked like there was a huge breakdown in communication.
Yeah, and he was not willing to bend as he was not willing to in his fight career. That's why he was such a great champion.
Yes.
But he ended up getting kicked off the plane because I guess he thought it wasn't fair that he'd have to switch seats.
Yeah. So
hopefully he gets there, though. I mean, I'm thinking, like, I don't know which flight this is, but if you're flying into LA right now, you want somebody to be able to do the exit seat stuff, like the exit row stuff. Like, you could run into a huge plume of smoke, of a scared flock of birds can fly through the engine. Like, you don't know what's going to happen when there's a natural disaster going on.
But to be honest, like,
where you're touching down.
This is the kind of man that would be like really great in high stress situations. I think he would be great at helping people off of the plane.
Yeah, I think so too. But you got to tell her that. Maybe she doesn't watch UFC. Maybe she doesn't want to put the trust of the plane's hands in his, or lives in his hand, just because, you know, he wasn't gonna say he was gonna help.
I'm just relieved he didn't say, "Do you know who I am? Google me."
Oh gosh,
I'm really relieved about that. People next to him were very calm. Whoever his travel companion was got off the plane with him as well. There was no muss, no fuss afterwards. But it was a little tense for a little bit.
Yeah, it was number one bullshit. That's what it was. Number one. Guess he won't be sending his location to UFC travel so they can rebook his ticket. But yeah, anyway, before we jump into 311, the fights last week yesterday were pretty intense.
And there were some, What was your favorite one?
Oh my God, there are so many, but my favorite one had to be the Cesar Almeida versus
Alhassan.
Yes, I needed to look at it. Sorry, guy who hates our enunciations of the word.
I feel like it's part of our charm.
It is.
We just lean into it at this point.
Yeah, we know how to say their names. Wink.
It's just fun.
Dude, that fight was insane.
Yeah, I wasn't. So I called for Almeida to win by decision on this one, but I also knew that he could definitely knock Alhassan out, but Alhassan could also knock him out. But he was going to be most dangerous in the first round. He tends to just empty out the tank and throw everything at him, which he did. He had Almeida hurt. He had him backed up against the cage, but with all of his offense and power shots, he left himself open to a counter.
He did leave himself open, but the crazy thing was, it wasn't sloppy. Like,
no,
he wasn't,
not at all.
He wasn't punching. It's just when you punch, you leave yourself open. The only way to not be open is to just shell up the entire fight. So he had him on his heels. He had Almeida on his heels and was landing big hooks over and over again. Every time Cesar got up, he would get hooked in the head again. And the way that he was able to load on that hook that finally knocked out Abdul Alhassan, that was the difference. The biggest difference, aside from the reach, was the way that he loaded on that hook. So they were both kind of throwing the same combination. They both threw like a 2-3, but Cesar threw the 2 and really just
He really loaded it up.
Dude, he charged his energy ball. He just went and just like really fired it up. So when he threw that hook, even though Abdul was throwing the same one, he wasn't able to reach and he wasn't able to land with the same intensity that Cesar was able to. And man, he had him out forever.
He was out for a long time. It's one of those... It's where you really rely on the commentary desk to fill in the spaces.
Like, please tell me they're okay.
Just give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, the stuntman thing. Have you watched The Fall Guy?
No, I've attempted to watch this movie multiple times, and I have not been able to start it. I always get distracted and watch something else.
It was actually really good.
Yeah.
It was like a really cute love story, but then it was also like an action film, and then it was kind of funny too. It was a weird one. Like, I get why it kind of flopped in the box office, but it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it, especially because like me and Kat started doing the weird stuntman stuff, stuntman training, and if anything, that made me think maybe I don't want to do that.
Well, from what I understand, you can like pick your niche. Like every stuntman has like a niche of expertise. Some people are like, I'm not being set on fire. Some people are like, I only want to get thrown from planes and out of buildings. So, and I only want to drive cars. So you can really like specialize what you want to do.
Yeah, I can't get set on fire with this kind of do.
Then that's not your thing.
It would be bad. It would be bad for everyone. And yeah, the big falls too are really scary. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I could get up to a height like that and still do what I'm supposed to do. Like, I think I'd just be trembling the whole time.
You know, when I was younger, I was pretty fearless. I was talking about this like a couple days ago, I think. But man, I love climbing on stuff. I love jumping off, especially like rock climbing, jumping into water. Yeah. It's like, it's really thrilling for me. I feel like a wild animal. I just love it. But there have been times like more recently where I'm climbing up things and I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm getting up really high. And I start kind of feeling that, you know, mortality or like my body.
Because you're old.
Shut up. You're old too.
When you're old, this shit happens.
It just, your body's like natural, like protective survival instincts start kicking in. And you're like, it's like when you hold your breath underwater, your body's like, hey, we don't belong down here. Like, come on up for air so we can live. It's kind of like that. I mean, I still do it. That's part of the reason I can still fight people in a cage. It's, you still do it. Yeah. But there's just a little bit more of reality setting in these days.
Yeah, survival instincts. Yeah. That you know your own mortality because you've probably seen a lot of people die climbing up things. Not in person, but you've heard about it happening or seen videos of it and stuff like that. So the more experience you have with things going wrong, where you're like, oh, maybe I'm not invincible. Maybe this is the last time I climb up something.
You know, even cats only have 9 lives.
Hey, there you go. We're on like 4.5 right now. So
yeah, I've definitely tested the limits.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Cesar Almeida probably took away one of Abdul's lives with that knockout. It was like the doctor chick who got that head kick knockout recently.
Oh, when she almost killed someone?
She almost killed someone. Yeah. She was almost employed to resuscitate her opponent. It was crazy. But that girl was out forever. And it was nice that when they, not nice, but you realized how bad the knockout was when they cut back to Abdul and they're forcing him, like lifting him up wobbly onto the stool. It was like a really visceral sight to see. But man, That was probably my top fight of the night for last night. But there were so many good ones. Like, I was just impressed that happened after all the other knockouts we saw that night.
No, it was a good fight. I think that's what the matchmakers were hoping for when they booked that fight, because both of them had the ability to knock each other out.
Oh, one thing I'll say for Cesar Almeida, put him in the game. You hear this little post-fight speech? No. It was like, my daughter, she went and she wanted to play me in the game and she wanted my collector's cards and I don't have any cards and I'm not in the video game. So put me in the UFC 5 video game. And I'm here to say, yes, put him in the video game and change my hair.
What's wrong with your hair?
I still have I'm bald. I have no hair.
What?
I have no hair. I haven't had no hair for almost 10 years now.
It was like one time.
Yeah, I shaved my head.
I feel like that should be part of like your thing where they can change your hairdo.
Yeah, there should be a downloadable package, that downloadable content where you can add all my different hairstyles, because there's a handful.
There's a lot.
I got at least 12 different hairstyles that you could easily program in there. One of them's already in there because they scanned me when I was on Tough and I had the mohawk. But then they cut me, so they didn't put me in. My mohawk was in the game, but I was not.
Well, it's crazy to me that he's not in the game. It's crazy to me that your hair isn't updated, because just my last fight week, they were redoing everybody's faces for the new game. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This just happened, though. I don't think this has happened since I first did motion capture for it. back, like when I first got back into the UFC. So that was the last time that I ever got anything for the video game recorded.
Well, at least you're in the game.
Yeah,
you're still there.
I'm there. You can definitely play as me, and apparently my character is OP. I got really fast elbows, and people can't stop them from landing.
Nice.
Yeah, so grind on that real quick. But anyway, aside from that fight, what was another one that you really liked?
Soriano looked amazing.
Oh my God.
His first round KO, his first time at 170.
Yes. So was he fighting bigger or smaller?
Smaller. He was 55.
Okay. Yeah, he did look more swole this time.
Yeah, I mean, he's always like been pretty lean and big,
right.
But I feel like it wasn't 150 to 155 to 170 is a pretty big jump.
Yeah, he would have to really put on some weight to just feel comfortable there because
he looked it though.
Yeah, he looked like that wasn't his issue. Making 55. Like putting on weight was not my issue. The issue was losing it. But did you notice that he walked out to that song from the Snowman cartoon?
No.
Walking through the air. No. You don't know the song?
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No. Is it like the claymation one?
No,
Is it that one?
It's like a really old cartoon. It's hand drawn, and it's a snowman. It's like it comes on every Christmas, and it's about a snowman that gets built by these kids, and then it comes to life. But like, I don't know. Me and my friends, like back when I was a young girl in what we called high school back then. We would always make fun of that song because it would come on and we would go, walking through the air. He walked out to that song. It was so ridiculous. It's like walking out to, I don't know, what's an old fucking cartoon. It's like walking out to an old Disney movie or something.
I would do
Disney
that.
movie song. Yeah, you would do that. You would do it. So you get it. But he walked out to the Snowman song, and then he was walking through the air when he landed that 2-3 on the guy's chin. It was a really good read because he knew that he was gonna go backwards. So he did one of those like big weaving combos and was able to find the mark.
Yeah, it was nice. He covered up really nicely, countered, walked him back, and I mean, he made easy work out of what could have been a pretty tough fight.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Now he just gets to go home, spend time with his wife, who is expecting.
Hey.
It's we always like hearing that, you know?
Yeah, he's definitely going to play the snowman for his new baby when it comes out. I want to know why he picked that song. It's such a random thing to pick. But
we got to try and get him on there.
Yeah.
We got to try and get him on
when
there.
he was walking, I had like instant nostalgia. Another fight that I thought was pretty nutso was Felipe Bunes versus Jose Johnson. This guy is huge. That Jose Johnson guy, he's like the big old 6 foot flyweight.
Okay.
Yeah, and as they're fighting, it looked like that was going to be the thing that just really made it difficult for Felipe Bunes to get over. Like he looked, even though he was about 5'8", so he's kind of a tall flyweight anyway. Most of the flyweights we know pretend they're 5'4".
They're really 5'2".
Yeah, you're not 5'4". Sorry, hun. But no, Bunes was a tall flyweight, and then he's fighting this even taller flyweight at 6 foot. Like it looked crazy, and he didn't look like he was in the same weight class. But Jose Johnson, I was pretty impressed with him until he got armbarred to fuck. But his off balances, his strikes, it looks really tough to deal with. So I'm interested to see what he does next. He missed weight. Maybe a move up in weight would be something that would make sense for someone like that, especially because 6 foot is still tall for bantamweight. And yeah, I'm wondering what's going to happen after that. But Felipe Bunes, he was a stud. And like, I feel like I was talking about charging up that energy ball because that's what he did after he got the armbar. He had like this crazy like kamehameha celebration. It was really fun. I love it when somebody gets a good what do you call it? Just a good upset over someone who looks like they should beat your ass. What did you think about the strawweight fight that happened aside from the main event? We could talk about that next.
The Kline versus, what is her name? Kline versus Dudakova.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of went how I assumed it would go. Dudakova was going to come out and really push the takedowns, the grappling. Kline impressed me with her takedown defense and her just ability to read situations and stay calm, like with someone that was just so pressed for the grappling. And she ended up reversing everything that Dudakova was doing. So she made it very, very seamless. She used all of her energy against her.
Yeah, there were a lot of reversals there. I was impressed with Dudakova because I thought it was going to be over as soon as Kline got on top of her. But she looked really strong. She looked really scrambly. She was able to just do that kind of push off in the mount a few times and was able to just not allow Kline to get settled right away. But eventually you could see Kline getting more comfortable. You could see her wearing her down. And then eventually she was able to get that finish. And what surprised me about the finish was Dudakova had all this like energy and desperation. And then all of a sudden, nothing. It almost looked like she gave up in that mount position when she was getting elbowed. And like it didn't look like she had gotten hit hard enough to be wobbled, but it did look like she had just, her body just didn't want to respond to her anymore.
It's all fun and games till you get elbowed in the face.
Yeah, there's
real.
There was a nice little cut on her forehead, but it looked more like a mental thing. And then you saw that thing that happened with the corner man afterwards, right?
No.
Oh, Jess, let me tell you,
Tell me.
it was so emotional, and we've both been there before. But so after the fight, she's getting consoled by one of her cornermen, and then the other one comes up, and he tries to hug her too, and she slaps him and pushes him away.
Like slaps him how? Where? Like across the face?
Like telenovela, like soap opera slaps him across the face.
On the face?
On the face, and tells him no. No, where were you?
That was her grappling coach, probably.
No.
This is your fault.
So rude.
I need to blame someone for everything that I did wrong.
Oh,
this is your
goodness.
fault. I take no responsibility for it.
Why did you teach me that move? It didn't work.
Nothing worked.
It only got me mounted. Oh, man. Yes. It seemed like it was, you know how every MMA fighter dates their coach. Like every female MMA fighter
Was it a love triangle?
between her and her coach and Fatima.
Yes.
You were coaching against me and I knew it. No, I think whatever happened, she felt like really untaken care of. Like she said, oh, you were supposed to be over here. You wouldn't even come up here. You sat over there. So I'm not sure if she's talking about in between rounds or maybe it took him a while to get in the cage, but she was angry at him for not being right there with her like her other coach was.
Wait, this is Fatima or Dudakova? I mean,
This is Dudakova.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you thought Fatima?
No. Well, I
slapped
started
her
getting
coach.
confused because I was like, wait, why is she being interviewed if she lost?
No, this was just afterwards.
Oh, okay.
This is, you could hear it in the video.
Oh, I
Yeah,
need to see this.
I know. I gotta pull it up for you, but it was really spicy, and I'm wondering what the backstory is. Maybe we could get Dudakova on
I
for
think
a tell-all.
I think she's a spiller. I think she'll talk.
Well, yeah, she spilled something before.
Exactly. She'll do it again. Just got to give her the right platform. No, it is really hard. The relationship between fighters and their corners and the emotions that you experience after a win or loss, especially a loss. It's just, there's a lot of frustration. Normally it takes a little bit of time to sort through.
Okay, here it is for you. Yeah. It was a fast slap too. Yeah. Oh, it's an ad. But
that was a fun car ride to the hotel.
Yeah, right. Look at this slap. This slap was hand speed. Whoosh. Oh, that hand speed on that slap. Yo, if she had that hand speed in the fight,
she would have won.
She wouldn't have been slapping people. Yeah.
Damn. You know what? It's a lot of emotion.
It is.
It's a lot of frustration.
The most emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another fight that got me emotional. I think you know which one it is.
I do. It was a hard one. It was a hard one.
It was painful to watch that it end the way that end. Okay, guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, you're insane.
Our boy.
You should know our boy and what he went through. Chris Curtis fighting Roman Kopylov. Oh my goodness, that was a heartbreaking ending.
It was a good fight. I had it 1-1 going into the third.
Yeah.
And honestly, Kopylov was in my book, he was,
I mean, especially after the kick.
Especially after the kick. That kind of, if he wasn't up on the scorecard in the third round, he would have been after that kick.
Yeah.
It's just, it's frustrating to have it stopped. There was no follow-up. I understand, in the post-fight interview, he expressed why he didn't follow up on it. But still, if you're not following up, and the man is on his way up, the fight's not over.
So what did he say in the post-fight?
Kopylov, he said he knew that he hurt him with the kick, and he knows that he's a father, and he wants to see him return to his kids and be able to be with his family and take care of his family.
All that went through your head.
Yeah, he said that's why he didn't rush him. He said he was already done in his mind. He said he was already done, which, it's respectful.
He also had his feet up on the wall like Glover like after the round was over. So maybe you just wanted it to be done because you're tired.
Maybe.
Like he was exhausted after a fight, as he should have been. Like that was a lot of output. But
it was a grueling fight. I told you it was going to be a fan favorite. It was going to be for the fans, and it was. They both delivered. It's just, I hate to see fights taken away in that way. There was a second left. You didn't have to do them like that.
No, it's like it's not a thing that Chris Curtis seemed to be happy about having on his record now is a knockout, even if it was a loss.
Yeah.
At least give them the chance to lose. Give them a chance to tally up the score and see what that final round played out to. But to take that away from him was just really heartbreaking. And it might not seem like a big deal to people who thought he lost, but it's something to you. Like me watching the main event and knowing I didn't get subbed by Mackenzie Dern. Like I got beat up, but I didn't get something. It's like this moral victory for you to say, hey, at least I made it to the final bell. And to take that away from a fighter, it just feels kind of demeaning. It feels like you're taking a bit of your power away. And that's what the refs do when they make a bad call. And Mark Smith, he is a great ref. Like he's rarely in the center of controversy. Like usually when you know a ref's name, it's for a bad reason. But he doesn't make bad calls often. He's definitely made some bad ones recently, like maybe letting fights go too long. He has a reputation of getting fight of the nights when he is reffing a fight. So I feel like sometimes you can jump in for the wrong reasons. Like maybe he's trying to show, I don't let every fight go on too long, and then he stops it short. Everyone's human, so it's hard to make the right decisions at the right time. Also, like with referees, you're probably not thinking there's 1 second left. He's probably not looking at the clock. He's looking at Chris Curtis's eyes and seeing if they can focus right. And I can see how that could happen, but still, man, like if he had just popped his eyes back to see that Kopylov was at the other side of the cage, then maybe he would have let the 1 second play out.
It's a hard one. I feel like Herb Dean is more so on the list of people that stops fights really close to the ending of it.
Yeah.
I've seen him repeatedly do it. It's not easy being a ref in the sense that you have You have your priorities. You also should know what time it is. You should know.
You know what time it is.
You should know what time it is. Especially when you have the 10-second, the 10-second clapper to remind you how close it is. But his job first and foremost is making sure the safety of the fighter. I thought that Chris Curtis looked like he was getting up to his feet. He looked coherent. He looked like he was still there. So it's just frustrating. I can completely understand how he got so emotional and frustrated after that.
I'm actually surprised we didn't hear more from Dom when that happened, because he's usually very vocal about those situations. But I feel like, when Dom's in fight camp, when he's less, I don't know, snipey.
Minding his P's and Q's.
Yes. He's minding his business.
Because he doesn't want his business interrupted.
Yes. Yes, that's how you know. He tightens things up a little bit when it comes to the refs.
He's a smart man.
Yeah, business savvy for sure. The fight itself, though, was a really great fight. The first round, Kopylov was just giving him all sorts of fits with his lead hand and just beating Chris Curtis to the punch every time. Anytime he tried to throw a kick or that stab kick that he's really good at, Kopylov would just pop him right away. And it really, I think it made Curtis back away from like the leg kicks, mixing it up. But then in the second, it was the opposite. Curtis started landing. He opened him up. He started landing his uppercuts and doubles and triples with the punch combinations. And then the leg was starting to work. He was able to get those kicks in. But then like Kopylov landed that really nasty 1-2 at the end of the round. So going into the third, they both had a lot of brain damage, like he promised. Chris Curtis, make sure to go back and watch our interview with Chris Curtis, because he promised brain damage and he delivered.
He delivered it. He's a man of his word.
Yes, they were both messed up. I saw that picture that Dana posted of Kopylov's cut above his eyebrow. Like, that thing was deep and nasty looking. It looked like a third eye. And
see into the future now.
Yeah. He'll be very cognizant next time Curtis wants to throw that little uppercut. But yeah, it was a nasty fight going into the third. And yeah, Kopylov mixing in the takedowns. That was the big game changer for him. As soon as he started mixing in the takedowns, Curtis was sucking one a little bit harder. He had to think a little harder about what was about to come at him. And I feel like that, like, even though it's not why he landed the leg kick, it kind of is, because all the up and down, kicking the legs and then going up to the head, like Curtis was kind of on wobbly legs already with the leg kicks, and playing him in place, being able to land that head kick, it just made him fall over. So it was rough to watch. And then for it to get called, you're almost like counting down like New Year's, as that kick lands. You're like 3, 2, and then Mark Smith jumps up.
We're like, we had 1 second, man. We could have had a decision on a record, but now we have a TKO. And what you were saying is right. It does really, it's like an asterisk against a fighter's name. When you're looking at their record and you see that and you're like, oh, that's the thing that stands out the most. That's the thing that people remember, not the fact that he's a workhorse and he's been like putting guys on their heels too. And he's been doing all this great work and he's reinvented himself and, he has great boxing. It's just, they see that and it makes people look at that a lot more.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he got knocked out. What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Which is good that he's not on the internet and instead employs a young Indian kid to take care of that for him.
Smart. VAs are amazing.
Yeah, good for you. One early stoppage I didn't feel too bad about was the co-main.
Oh.
It was a tad bit early.
It was a little early, and especially since you gave so much leeway in the first 2 rounds,
right?
With Ponzinibbio getting dropped as much as he did. You could have let that one go too.
Yeah.
That Carlston Harris did better than I thought he would. His striking looked a lot crisper. He had a really crazy like overhand right clubbing punch that was the first one that dropped Ponzinibbio. But Ponzinibbio he's a gamer, he's a vet. He did his typical thing. He pressured, he volumed, he mixed things up. He ended up getting the TKO over Harris, and it was a little bit early, but what are you gonna do?
We're not mad at it because it's Ponzinibbio.
Yeah,
let him get the win. Come on, bro. He deserves it. He's been here for a minute.
And you kind of owe him for the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what happened in the last one?
Oh, he lost a decision to Saka. What's the guy's name? Some people thought that he won his last fight, but he lost a decision.
Okay. Nice. Good. He deserves it. It's funny because Adam's been on me all week about my cauliflower here. I have like a little fresh cauliflower.
Can I drain it?
I mean, I don't know if you can.
Oh, yeah. There, I can drain the shit out of that. Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, because, it's mostly in the back. Like, mostly the back of the ear is the squishy part.
Yeah.
But, he's been on me all week. And I'm like, you can't even see it. He's like, I can see it. I'm like, no, you can't. And I feel like he's been on me all week because he saw a picture of Ponzinibbio. I don't want my wife to have ears like that.
Oh, calm down, Adam.
He's so dramatic. But he's been on me all week about it. Like, just let me drain it. I'm like, no, it's fine. I love it.
If you need somebody to drain it.
Nurse Jess.
I love draining things, popping things.
You have to wear the nurse outfit that you wore.
I have one.
That you wore in our, what were we doing?
Chimaev and Costa.
Yeah, the Costa skit. Yeah. Oh, good.
I still have it.
Oh, yeah. We got to post that again, too. Or post a link to that for people to see. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. He seems like the most annoying person to fight or to spar with or anything Carlston Harris does. Like the way that you were talking about his like weird, like overhand looping thing, the way that he's able to kind of like boomerang his punches around is so annoying.
Yeah, and he is long.
Yeah.
I didn't watching his previous fights, I didn't realize. I mean, Ponzinibbio's not a huge guy for the division either.
Yeah.
But man, he had some size and reach on Ponzinibbio.
He did.
And it was very dramatized to me. I was like, dang.
His style of boxing reminded me of one of the characters from that stupid anime we were talking about, the boxing anime. But I wanted to figure out his name so I could get street cred. But but I can't think of the guy's name, but is one of Ippo's opponents, and he's just like terrifying the whole time. He has this really scary look, and he's a really tall, like they're all flyweights in it, even though they look like Dragon Ball Z characters. They're all flyweights. But this guy has this whipping punch that really like gives him trouble, and that's what it looked like with this guy, with Carlston Harris. Is everything kind of like unfolded and then whipped at the end, or it whipped out and then it curled around at the end. So it was like Ponzinibbio didn't know what was coming at him, and there's like a deceptive amount of power on his hit. So when he lands, it's clubbing and it thuds, and somehow he can do that without getting any of his body behind anything.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's all arm.
Yeah.
It's literally all arm. There is no rotation. Like Almeida, big rotation.
Yeah.
None. It's all like this. I'm like, dang, he must cut a ton of weight.
Yeah, right?
I mean, he's Brazilian, so yes, that's a given.
Carlston done cutting weight. Well, let's finally get to our main event. Amanda Ribas versus Mackenzie Dern. I called it. I knew my girl Dern was going to pull through. She's just been looking more impressive to me on the feet lately, and she hasn't been jumping weight classes, so we get to see some consistency in her performances, and even in losses, I feel like she's been looking good. And she was able to, I don't know, I feel like this happens sometimes when you have rematches and the opponent won. In the second fight, it's almost like they're on defense mode. like they're up a point when they start the fight. So it looked like Ribas was less into attacking and more into just defending her win.
Maybe.
Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do get what you're saying. And I feel like sometimes in that sense, like the fighter that won almost feels like they don't necessarily have to change anything.
Yeah, like they're
can
kind of
just
coasting.
Copy paste. Yeah.
Yeah, coasting
they're like,
to the win.
I've got this. I've been there before. I know how to get there.
I'll just keep her at bay.
Yeah.
And then eventually what happened last time will happen again.
Yeah. I mean, I agreed with you in the sense that Mackenzie Dern had made more leaps in her game. She filled in more holes for sure. I just thought that Ribas would keep the distance better, and she is stronger. She's been competing at a higher weight, so I felt like her body would be a little bit more like primed to be like strong and defensive, so she could fend off Dern a little bit better. And I mean, she did for a time. But I mean, the tenacity of Dern just really started taking over. I thought it was very telling when she had her, Dern had her in an armbar. She swept her up. She let go of the armbar to get the position and then got that arm again.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that's just another level. It was really impressive.
Yeah, because she went for like 12 arm bars on me and I kept slipping out. So she knew she had to set that shit up before she went for it. You could tell that as soon as it went to the ground, even when Ribas was on top, she just went into defense mode. And I feel like she could have been a lot more successful if she was attacking in those positions or just bailing out immediately.
Yeah.
Like she hung out in the gray area too long, where it almost looked like she wasn't sure if she trusted her grappling, so she didn't want to open up, or she wasn't sure if she wanted to jump out and get back into the striking exchange. Dern was doing well on the feet too. You could see that the game plan was calf kicks. Like they were looking for the calf a lot for whatever reason, for what they saw on tape. And they even had her doing it backstage. So she stuck to the plan a lot in the first round with the calf kicks, was able to get to that single leg where Ribas was able to like hip throw her, Uchimata her both times, but it was almost like, okay, this is where I can get to work now. Now I understand everything now that I'm on the ground, even if my back's on the floor. And once she saw that Ribas was only defending, then that made her go even harder for the grapple in the third round.
The fastest way to take a grappler out of their game is to punch them in the face.
Yeah.
And this is what Ribas did not do. And I think if she had done it, if she had started throwing elbows, if she had started throwing punches and separated, as you were saying, I think we could have seen a different result.
Yeah. There was one moment where she even had like the knee open and the guard was like pretty much, she had a Dern half guard and she did not want to pass. You could tell she didn't want to get to that side control, to the half guard, to anything where she might have had a little bit more control. Instead, she was happy staying in that like guard position, open guard or closed guard or whatever. She was more comfortable there than anywhere else. And I'm like, dude, like if you're gonna grapple, you gotta grapple. You can't just jump into someone's guard and then try to hunker down and hope for the best and hope that you get control time, because eventually a good grappler is going to figure out which way to move you, how to off balance you, and then get that angle and get you. So, yeah, I think she relied a little too much on her strength with the defense on the ground. Eventually, Dern was able to find a few openings, and I was pretty impressed with that armbar, the way that she was able to get it so tight in those last 10 seconds.
Yeah, I thought it was a huge win for Mackenzie. Well deserved. I think this fight really showcased all the work she's been putting in. What do you think is next for her? I think maybe Andrade.
Again?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
It's a little soon.
Is it soon?
And Andrade jumps to flyweight.
All the other ones are even sooner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or even they're even less removed than that one.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting is when they asked her who does she want next, she didn't go, I want the winner, blah blah blah. I want the belt. She didn't call anyone out. She's just like, I just want another one. So she's not thinking that hard about it. Like I think she is in a place where a lot of fighters need to be at her age. Like, she's not in a rush. If you're in the top 10 and you're 25 to 35, you don't have to be in a rush. You know, you can sit on that egg and wait for the right fight to drop into your lap instead of rushing into the next contender that might not be the best stylistic matchup for you, but then you get knocked down the list. So like she's showing patience that I think is kind of good to have when you're in her position, because she just beat Ribas. She just got a finish. She can wait for the next person that she feels really confident about finishing. You know, she can wait for maybe Yasmin Lucindo beats Amanda Lemos. I think that's her next fight. She can wait for that matchup, which I think on the ground, she just blows her out the water. She can wait for like a new prospect. She can wait for a Ricci fight, you know, a fight where she's not going to take any damage and she's going to be put in those positions to get the submissions a bunch if she goes for a grappling type of attack. So I think she's in a good position where she can just wait for a good matchup that has a number by its name that's going to give her a better case for fighting for the title. And she probably has time on her side, because if Tatiana Suarez is able to beat Whaley, we don't know when we're going to have another strawweight title fight.
Well, in the pre-fight presser, she did say that she would rather fight Tatiana. Mm-hmm. She said, I want to fight, you know, I want to have a grappling match. I want to do this and that. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, because Wiley is a terrible matchup for you. Personally, personally I think so. It's just, you're at number 6. Everybody ahead of you, you've already fought and either beaten or lost, and everybody behind you, it doesn't necessarily do anything for you. So I'm just thinking about, how is she going to advance? What's next? I don't know. I mean, maybe they like her so much that she would just, you know, go from number 6 to a title shot.
I wouldn't be surprised. And, you know, I don't think you turn that down. Like, even though she's acting like she isn't going to ask for it, well, she's not asking for it. If you give it to anyone, they're going to take it, because that is a huge pay bump. It's a huge status bump. Once you become champion, you can retire and start your movie career, you know? So no one's going to turn that offer down. But I do think, like, it seemed like her post-fight feelings immediately, she probably just wants to get another win under the belt where she can feel really confident going into that title shot if it happens.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think's next for Ribas?
For Ribas? Honestly, I think she should go back to 125 and play
Get
out
out of
there.
here.
No, it's and I mean, I wanted to talk about you know, one of the things I want to talk about was this, you know, weight cut fiasco of Deonna Silva.
Oh yeah.
That is coming back up. This happened a while ago, but it's just talking about people just doing these like big weight cuts and not fighting at a healthier weight. And I think that Ribas has been looking really good at 125. And I think that, you know, that's something to explore. I think it's a little bit easier of a path to, you know, the title. I want to see her fight, you know, Blanchfield or Barber, or, you know, I want to see her up there and, you know, fighting the top 10.
Yeah, and I want her to either shit or get off the pot, get out of strawweight, clogging up the rankings. Well, I kind of have a personal vendetta against her, because she, when we were supposed to fight, she ended up pulling out. I think she might have had COVID, so I think she had a good excuse. But it was on fight day. So she tested positive for COVID on fight day, and then they were going to rebook it for like 3 weeks or a month later. And I was like, great. And they said, oh, but if we rebook it, it has to be at 125.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's a no.
Of course
that's
not.
A hard no.
No, I walk around at 125. So we were trying to get it at 115 again. They're like, there's no way she can make 115 again in that amount of time. It's like, well, why are you a strawweight then?
Now, I have I have that kind of frustration, like when I was supposed to fight Goldie, and she got COVID. She had to pull out, and then they were trying to make it at 125. I was like, I am not a large human.
No.
This girl used to fight at flyweight. Now she's cutting a ton of weight. If you have to cut that much weight and it's so hard for you, then you should just be at flyweight.
Exactly. Don't try to make us suffer. People forget that Ribas fought Paige Van Zandt at 125 because of a similar reason. I think neither of them wanted to cut weight. Hey,
Butcher. Come on, man.
Your phone smell like Grace.
Do you want some whipped cream?
Grace was licking peanut butter off of your phone.
She doesn't like peanut butter.
Really?
I've tried to do those really cool videos of like, have your dog eat peanut butter and get all.
Oh.
No, she won't do it.
She ain't into it. She's a classy dog.
She doesn't fuck with peanut butter.
I'm not surprised. But but you know who isn't a classy dog? Or Ribas and her.
Oh my God, that segue.
I'm 40. I can be sassy. I'm just a senile old woman. No one can judge me. But yeah, that's always, that pissed me off about, just like, I don't know, the fact that she stays in the rankings even though she jumps up and down. Her best win before before Dern was Paige Van Zandt 125. So it's like, dude, she's a 125er.
Yeah.
She just kind of dips her toes in 115 every now and then when she can have enough time to cut weight. But I always thought that was kind of shady. And she's another one that was popped by USADA for her usage for 2 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, she had a 2-year suspension for Osterine. And I know that because I just looked it up. Because I was like,
what's that one for?
It's like a male muscle enhancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
So she was popped in 2017 after she made her debut.
Wow.
Yeah, and nobody talks about it because she's so sweet and she has such a sweet voice and she never means any harm to anybody until she's ready to fight. And then she does this face.
I do love that at the end of every round.
Oh, she gets up off her back.
I'm like, get it, girl.
Defending arm bars the entire time.
Fake it till you make it.
She didn't have the cheekage this time. I think that was part of her demise. She was not cheeking like she did in the Rose fight. You got to cheek.
Lesson learned.
Lesson
learned. Oh, she cheeked.
She cheeked.
She cheeked.
She was super cheeky.
I couldn't stop staring at her cheeks.
I was like, oh.
Like, get it, girl.
You dropped something. I feel like if I was a ref, I'd probably get in trouble for like a girl starts cheeking.
Honey.
Yeah, I just like do a little pinch real quick. I feel like I'd get in trouble as a ref for doing it. I'm like, what?
You would. You would lose your job.
I'm just being a girlfriend.
You would lose your job.
I'm just being a girlfriend.
You have to stay neutral, just like all of those camera guys when you're on The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh my
You
god!
must stay objective and not interfere with the subjects.
Hey, we got them to crack a smile every now and then.
We were good at that. We did. That was like one of the goals.
Yeah. Oh, he
It's a
smiled.
win a day.
There was a smirk there. I saw you, camera daddy. We got you. Yeah, but it would be just like putting their mouth guard back in. Like, oh, pause the action. Okay, continue.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Who was it reffing me in Brazil? They let my whole ass hang out.
Yeah.
That whole cheek, I forget who it was. Was it a chick? Because if it was a chick and I felt...
it was a man.
Oh, okay. I feel like I still would have... If I had felt like a hand just re-drape my butt cheek, I would have been real happy. I didn't have to, take the risk of backing away and hoping my opponent would let me.
Your happiness or the audience's happiness? You're an entertainer, Angela. You need to think about what's important.
I know.
Give the fans what they want to see.
I still feel like I should have let my ass hang out for the rest of the round. I messed up
I
there.
feel like that too.
Okay, hopefully this girl, she also has a neck tattoo and is Brazilian. So there's a 50-50 chance we might see part of my ass in this fight too.
You know what? Just stretch them out a little bit more.
I'll take the extra large.
Shit, I wore an extra large last time.
Did you?
They were so tight.
They looked really like well fitting. Maybe that's what I need. Yeah, I'm messing around with these mediums. Well, yeah, I think that's our breakdown of the Ribas versus Dern. The cheekage part 2. Do you think we see a part 3? Somebody said something about part 3, and I'm like, we don't need to see that.
I mean, eventually, you know what? People.
Yeah, it depends on what Ribas does after. Like, if she starts going crazy with wins, of course. But yeah, I just feel like she hasn't really been looking amazing at 115.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what she's been doing at flyweight and then going back down to 115,
it's a lot.
I'd say stay up.
Yeah.
Stay up. You've been looking really good. You've been looking strong. You've been winning. Just, go back up there.
Yeah.
Back where you belong.
Or fight me. Cheekage part 1 that never happened. The prequel. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all I have for that. Should we do 2 today?
Girl.
I'm just gonna eat cake.
Well, we'll get you a fork and a knife, and then we can start our bonus content.
Hey, we'll see you in a bit.